basically asks Randy, "Are you ready to fight the Undertaker?" And Randy says, "Of course I am." And Bray slaps him right across the face, and he says, "Mentally you may be ready, but physically you are not." Because if you remember back at WrestleMania 21, the reason why you lost was because your strength gave out. So we are here to ensure that that doesn't happen again. So this is where it gets a little bit graphic for WWE, but I think at the same time, it makes perfect sense to do this. Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and hopefully Eric Rowan, they are all there just, punishing Randy Orton. You see him getting smacked with belts, and we see him just, getting his head put underwater, basically testing and putting Randy Orton's body on the brink, just basically making him physically stronger, so that way the mistake doesn't happen again. And, of course, Randy Orton's screaming out in pain, and he's basically just getting brutalized here. And, of course, like I said, this is one of those things where Bray Wyatt's basically trying to push Randy Orton's body to the brink. And he's trying to make sure that his body is stronger than ever. So he's basically trying to see to it that Randy Orton is physically at his best and he's ready for this. And of course, this will also deal with the fact that we need to have a matchup for Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. So while we have all these little vignettes, Randy Orton is going to be taken off TV until WrestleMania. Same with The Undertaker. So we're just kind of building it up through promos and stuff like that, because I know the people there will do an amazing job. Bray Wyatt will go one-on-one with Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. And I know that seems a little bit far-fetched, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense, because you look at everything that they've planted so far. They would have the whole they have the whole deal where they eliminated Braun Strowman at Survivor Series, and they eliminated him at the Royal Rumble. So basically, Braun Strowman's just on this warpath where he's just like, I want Bray, I want Bray, I want to destroy Bray. I am stronger than Bray, I am better than Bray, I will break Bray. So we set that matchup for WrestleMania. We also would set up, of course, like I said, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title at WrestleMania. We would see Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. I would love to see it more particularly at Roadblock, but they've already announced Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at that event, so that's obviously not going to happen. It looks like they will probably do New Day versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass, which would be fine. We see AJ Styles versus Finn Balor for the WWE World title, because why not? And the main event, the final matchup on the show, would be Randy Orton versus The Undertaker. Because in all honesty, you guys, Undertaker deserves that. He's one of those guys who's put his body, his career on the line. He's done everything. He's given the WWE everything that he's had. And it makes most sense to have his final matchup be the main event. You could still have it be Finn Balor versus AJ Styles before that matchup. And then in between you can do Big Show versus Shaquille O'Neal, because I'm still interested in the matchup, but I just don't think it's going to be as highly hyped up as it could be. So the matchup happens between Undertaker and Randy Orton, and it is indeed a slugfest. We see great entrances by both of these, men. Maybe we see Randy Orton's entrance where he gets on top of a giant structured snake, and he looks like this massive Snake King or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. Undertaker's entrance would feature all the WWE superstars dressed up in druid robes, holding the torches, and basically, letting him go down to the ring for a last ride. The matchup itself is indeed brutal. It is indeed one of the best that these guys will have. Undertaker hits a tombstone. 1, 2, Orton kicks out. Randy Orton hits an RKO. 1, 2, Taker kicks out. Everything they're just throwing at each other goes crazy. We see Undertaker try and go for another tombstone, but we see Randy Orton do his backbreaker deal, and then Orton gets that look in his eyes, And this is a different side of Randy Orton, because we see him just have this sadistic side that we haven't seen in a long time. He props himself into the corner, and he, bam, hits The Undertaker with a punt to the skull. And Undertaker just looks dazed. He looks confused. He just looks like he has a major concussion. And everybody's thinking, oh my God, that's it. There's no way. Undertaker gets rolled to the middle of the ring by Randy Orton. Orton covers 1, 2, and Taker just barely gets his shoulder up. And of course, Randy Orton has that look in his eyes of his eyes almost popping out of his face, and he's like, "What the? Nobody's kicked out of the punt." And it's true, because I haven't known a single person that's kicked out of the punt kick that Randy Orton delivers. So that would be a really shocking moment where everybody's thinking, "Holy cow, the Undertaker still has it in him. He's really just pulling it off." And then we see Undertaker go for another tombstone. Tries to hit a second tombstone. Unfortunately, Randy Orton slips up. Bam! RKO out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton has pinned The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, why would you do that? Why would The Undertaker lose in his final matchup? Because I've heard the tradition that there's a lot of people that when they have their final matchup, a lot of people win. It seems too predictable. I think that Undertaker would be more than willing to give Randy Orton this victory, and in exchange, you really give The Undertaker something that everybody will appreciate for him. Give him the main event spot, give him his proper recognition, and he'll probably be more than willing to do that, because he can be a very respectful man. So the matchup ends with Randy Orton basically walking up the aisle with the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt has beaten Braun Strowman. The Wyatt family, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, they beat the tag team champions, so they're the champions. They're on the road to owning the gold, and this was a big step for them in that night. So you really get the Wyatt family back on their high horse tonight. They all leave, and The Undertaker is in the ring, and he is, of course, shocked. He's a little bit dazed. He's confused. Everybody's on their feet. They're applauding for The Undertaker. They're saying, "Thank you, Taker." And then finally, we see everybody else in the WWE on the top of the stage of WrestleMania, and they are applauding for The Undertaker. They're showing their respects for The Undertaker. I would give Undertaker like the last 10 minutes of the show to do whatever he wants. He can take a mic and he can talk about how grateful he is that he's done so many years of working with the WWE, that he's been a 6-time world champion, that he's done so many different things to really put the company on the map. Just giving him the time to really show his gratitude. Give him the time to really show his appreciation for the WWE. And then the following year, The Undertaker is announced as the first inductee for the WWE Hall of Fame. Why? Because he deserves it more than a lot of people on the roster, in all honesty. So that is how I would book Randy Orton versus Undertaker going into WrestleMania 33. I mean, it really works out for the best, because now Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton and the Wyatt family are really starting to get that momentum back. You could build a huge feud with Randy Orton and AJ Styles. Because, I mean, honestly, if you build that up for SummerSlam to have Randy Orton face the WWE World Champion, both matches would be really good. You could have Randy Orton versus Styles or Randy Orton versus Balor, and people would still want to see it. So you build that, and then you start building up a little bit of tension where Bray Wyatt is basically saying, hey, I'm still the leader here, blah, blah, blah. And, they finally boot Randy Orton out of the Wyatt family. Maybe that could set up for something at Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, one of the big-time main events before WrestleMania 34. But that is basically how I would book it all the way till 33. So let me know what you guys think. Predictions for the Squared Circle podcast title should have already happened. If not, they will happen probably tonight, which is Friday night. So hopefully it happens then. But Be sure to tune in to that. This has been a special edition of Change the F Up. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at NateFNGreat. Be sure to give a follow to my co-host Spencer Hart at Spencer Hart TSC, Max Beatty at Agent Cooper 1989, Victory Bell at Victory Clark 04. Definitely looking forward to seeing how this weekend turns out, you guys. So it's Survivor Series weekend, along with NXT TakeOver Canada, Toronto. So that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the Change the F Up. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.